everybody, I'm Stephen and Frederick, and here's another episode of How I Cook. It's been a while, but I think I have a really good one. I want to thank Megan from Hatboro, PA. She posted a recipe on Facebook that inspired this. It's cheesesteak stuffed shells, and the recipe she had posted had ground beef. I'm elevating it a little, and we're using shaved ribeye. So why don't we get started? I have a pot of almost boiling water here, and these are jumbo shells. It's a whole box. There's around 40 of them. I'm going to make them all, and we'll use as many as we can fill. If we can't fill them all, I'll just eat them with butter and garlic later. Empty skillet. Going to turn it on medium and add 2 tablespoons of butter. What we're going to do is we're going to brown some onions. This is a medium to large white onion that I've diced. Put it in even before the butter melted. It'll melt and we'll mix it all around. So get those 2 things going. I'll show you some other stuff I have ready. This is around a pound of cheddar cheese that I just chunked up. We're going to put some of it in the shells with the stuffing, and then some we're going to make into a sauce. So I can hear the onions starting to sizzle. So let me move this around with the butter. And the water is starting to boil. So we're going to put the shells in with the water. It's just plain water. I've not salted it. I've not added oil. I know a lot of people do that. I do not. And I'm just going to move it around so that they don't stick together. We're going to boil the shells for around 10 minutes. This will be in between al dente and totally cooked. Al dente is cooked, but a softer noodle, because what we're going to do is we're going to stuff them, put them in a baking dish, and then bake them. So they will continue to cook in the oven. So for now, I'll be back in a minute or 2 once the onions have become translucent, and we'll add the beef and some seasonings. So see you in a couple minutes. Okay, so the onions are looking translucent. They smell wonderful. So what I'm going to do is add a little salt, not too much. Add a little pepper. And then stir. Next, we're going to add some ribeye meat. Some really nice ribeye meat. This is 1.5 pounds. I was hoping for 1 pound, but they were only selling it 3/4 of a pound and 3/4 of a pound. Those people at Wegmans know what they're doing. They know most recipes call for 1 pound. So we're doing 1.5 pounds. Better to have them overstuffed than understuffed. So I'm just dropping the shaved ribeye on top of the onions. This will not take long to cook at all. The shells are still boiling. It's around 7 more minutes for the shells. You can see the onions went very quickly. And you can see I have the ribeye on top of the onions. Now I'm going to move it around, turn up the heat a little, and brown the ribeye meat, incorporating with the onion. It's going to rip into smaller pieces, which is what we wanted to do. So it's been around 6 minutes, and you see I cooked the meat and the onions. It doesn't take long at all. I'm turning off the heat, and I'm taking the pan off of the heat to let this cool down. It's going to have to cool a little so I can stuff the shells. It's been around 9 minutes for the shells. Let's check them. Okay, they look pretty done. Yes, they're still al dente. I think that's okay. I'm going to drain them and run them under cool water. I also need them to cool down a little so I can work with them. Great. So here are the shells. There's still a little heat coming off of them, but I can manage them. Here's the meat and onions. What I'm doing now is, here's a baking tin, got it at the dollar store. I'm going to spray it with some no-stick oil. And now we're going to stuff the shells. My hands are clean. You take a shell, you take some mixture, you take a chunk of cheese, you put it right there, and you put it in the pan. Again, take a shell, take some meat. Some will have a little bit more, some will have a little bit less, but in the end, it'll all work out. Put some cheese and put in the pan. So the shells are stuffed. I filled up the bottom of the pan, and also I had to put some on top of that. That's all good. It's just going to be beefy, oniony, cheesy goodness. So I'm just going to put this aside. And what are we going to do with all this leftover cheese? Well, we're going to make a cheddar cheese sauce. So, saucepan. Turning it on medium. Beef broth, can of beef broth. Milk, can of milk. Use the same can that the beef broth came in. And though it's not needed, I really like better than bouillon. It smells great. I'm just going to make it even more beefy. So we have beef broth, we have ribeye, and now we have a little better than bouillon. This is going to be great. All right, so we just want this to come up to a boil. I'm going to put a tablespoon, a generous tablespoon of cornstarch in this little bowl. Maybe a tablespoon and a half. Because what we're going to do is we're going to thicken up the milk and beef broth. After we thicken that up, once it comes to a boil, we will add the cheese. It will make a great cheese sauce. We'll put it over the shells and bake. I wish you were here and were able to smell everything. It just smells so wonderful in here. So why didn't I just put the cornstarch in the pot? What you want to do is take warm liquid, put it with the cornstarch, make what they call a slurry. Then you pour the slurry back into the warm liquid so that the cornstarch doesn't lump up. So what we're waiting for now is this liquid to come to just below a boil. When it does that, I'll put a little in here. I'll show you. Okay, so this is starting to boil. I'm going to turn it down to medium, and I'm going to go in and get some of the hot liquid and put it in with the cornstarch. again, we want to form a slurry and then pour it back into the hot liquid so that the cornstarch doesn't lump up. It's hot, I gotta put it down. It really takes a while for it to incorporate. Whoa! Whoa! All right. I hope everybody saw that. I wasn't paying attention to the pot boil and it overflowed a little. Yeah, we lost some, but that's okay. Don't freak out. All good. I think what I'll do is I'll add a little more milk and a little more better than bouillon. All good. Remember, it's not the right way. It's not the way you should do it. This is how I cook. And the way I cook is deal with whatever is thrown at you. Maybe just a little more milk. It really went down. So the cornstarch seems pretty good. There are some lumps, but all in all looks good. So here's what I'm doing. I'm pouring it in with the hot liquid. And then I want to stir. What it will do is it will start to thicken this liquid. So this is just the cheese that we didn't use when we were stuffing the shells. Same cheese, waste not, want not. Yep, this is thickening. You can feel when you stir. All right. So I'm going to add the cheese. Be careful that it doesn't splash up on me. That would be hot. That would be not good. All right, turning it down to low. This isn't going to be as orange as I anticipated. It's going to look more like beef gravy, which is fine. Beefy and cheesy flavor, that's what we're looking for. So I'll see you in a few minutes once this is all mixed and I'm ready to pour it over the stuffed shells. Okay, so everything's done. The cheese sauce is done. It's thickening up nicely. It smells very cheddary, very beefy. It looks more brown than I anticipated. But again, as long as it tastes cheesy, that's all we care about. So let me pour it over the shells. So what's going to happen now, I have a preheated 850 degree oven. Going to put it in there for around 20-25 minutes. Hopefully things will bubble up. Then we'll take it out. We'll let it sit for a little so it solidifies. And then we'll try it. All right, see you in a little. So it's been around 25 minutes. I just took a peek. It's bubbly. It smells really good. Before I take it out of the oven, I just want to point out these tails. Bitch, I am the secret ingredient. Apparently I have a reputation because for Christmas, I didn't get one, I got two. Two different people gave me the same towel. Thank you, Alice. Thank you, Risa. You know me well. Wow. This looks wonderful. So you could see that the chunks of cheese in the shells has melted. Also the cheese sauce and the ribeye. This smells wonderful. I'm just going to let it sit for 5-10 minutes. We'll then be back and then we'll plate a little. If I were to take it out right now, I think it's a little too liquidy and we don't want it to be. All right, see you in a few minutes. Okay, so I waited around 10 minutes and I took 4 of the shells out to put into a bowl. After this is over, I'm definitely going to be eating more than 4. But it really smells wonderful. Again, it came out a little browner than I thought, so like a beef gravy. But let's give it a try. Just gonna try the inside. Look at how cheesy. So good. The beef, the onion, the cheese, and then the cheese sauce. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed this episode. I want to thank Megan again for the inspiration. What we'll do is in the comment section of this episode, we'll put the original recipe that was the inspiration. I'm always looking for suggestions. I already have something for the next one. It's going to be a noodleless lasagna. I think you guys will like. But for now, take care, and we'll see you next time. Bye.